So, it's been a few days now since Multiverse for the Madness, aka Doctor Strange 2, came out in England on Thursday, then came out globally on Friday, and I believe it's out pretty much everywhere except for the countries it's banned in. So, it's been a very controversial, a very diversive movie in terms of if people like it, if people hate it. I've had comments saying it's the worst movie ever. Stop trying to make people believe it's good. I've also read comments of people saying it's the greatest Marvel movie ever. So, yo, what is freaking good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, pop culture-based content we do on this channel on a daily basis. If you could, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and comment down below. Did you like this movie? If so, why? Did you not like this movie? If so, why? Do you like the movie, but you don't think it's great? Just let me know down below. So there is a few topic points, and there is a few points this movie why people were very much disappointed. The first being people feel like it's actually just a Wanda movie, and it should have been called WANDA MCU or Scarlet Witch Into the Multiverse of Madness. And then you got some people saying it wasn't even that crazy. I mean, I get your standpoint. I really do. But you got to think about it realistically from a production point of view and how much it would cost. They couldn't show us 20 different universes and go into great depths on all of them. So we only really went into great depths on Earth 838, which is where the Illuminati were prominent and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I get the criticism. We couldn't explore the animated universe. We couldn't explore everything on a greater deal. And I get it. There are some plot holes. There are some inconsistencies. But overall, I do feel like it's a very good movie. But I think one of the biggest talking points is there was no Tobey, there was no Andrew, there was no Tom Cruise, there was no Leonardo DiCaprio's Spider-Man. Now, even if these cameo roles were filmed, and I do not believe that Leonardo, Tom Cruise would get paid crazy amounts to appear in a movie and they just get cut, oh yeah, we'll put it on the extended Blu-ray, the extended cut, just to sell more Blu-rays. That's not really how they all work. If Leonardo, if Mr. Tom Cruise was in this, if they put their time into this project, even if they were going to be in the Illuminati, even if Tom Cruise was going to be Iron Man for 1 minute and he was going to be behind the Ultron bots, but if you listen to the dialogue during the movie, Reed Richards, the smartest person in the universe, pretty much is behind the Ultron bots. And that's the explainer there. Here's the smartest person in the universe, in all the universes, in the whole multiverse, even including Tony Stark. So people's biggest problems from the comments I can see is how easily the Scarlet Witch dismantle, destroy the Illuminati. Now, what you understand is Wanda is pretty much a Nexus being. She can shift reality to her whatever she wants. She can literally shift reality at ease. She's pretty much a Nexus being. She can do whatever she wants. She can make whatever she wants. She can do literally anything. Now, we find out in this movie that this version of the Illuminati with the Book of Shanti took out Thanos. Okay, cool story, bro. Well, back in Avengers Endgame, Wanda, before she became the Scarlet Witch, could have decimated Thanos single-handedly. She's been confirmed multiple times to be the strongest Avenger. She's not just the strongest Avenger, she's the strongest being that we've seen thus far in the MCU. So I get it. People are like, oh, how did she destroy Black Bolt so easily? Yes, I get it. She sewed up Black Bolt's mouth. That was hilarious. She squished Reed Richards. She snapped Professor X's neck. But that was just there to show her how freaking powerful she is. She's so omnipotent. She is so powerful. And that wasn't even really the OP Wanda. That was Wanda possessing someone else's body. The MCU Wanda, the MCU Scarlet Witch, is even stronger. OP stronger. So that is the main criticism. And that's the main criticism I can see from the comments. I did put a tweet out the other day asking what people thought. And people like, loved it. Finally, someone actually brought up this ridiculous point and says that Mr. Smite. Let's be honest. The hype was better than the actual movie, but the biggest disappointment was Mr. Fantastic, who proved himself to be the dumbest in the universe. Wanda, this is Black Bolt. All he has to do is that and it's all over. Yeah, I get it. There are some stupid puns. There are some things that didn't work, but a lot of the criticism is because Chthon, Nightmare, Warstu, and stuff like that didn't happen. Now, if that did happen, cool, but they kind of did tease Nightmare and teased Chthon in a roundabout way. They are building up to Secret Wars, Secret Avengers. They are building up to much greater things. Yes, we know know it looks like Scarlet Witch is dead and she's done and buried, but really, do you really think Scarlet Witch is done in the MCU? No, she's not done. So I freaking love this movie. I mean, at first I didn't, but then I sat on it and actually thought, what just happened? And you've got to think about the complexity of a movie like this. All the moving pieces, they did do a huge reshoot, but they did film this movie during whatever happened in the world. Now, I know another reason why people were a bit disappointed was because the X-Men weren't introduced properly. The Fantastic Four weren't introduced properly, but realistically, they were introduced. If you listen to what Chavez says, and if you listen to what Wanda says, there's a Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards in every universe. Chavez is the only one in the whole galaxy because she doesn't dream. So they did introduce the X-Men in somewhat capacity, and Patrick Stewart himself has said, I don't know, maybe I could return. So he's already teased, but I think it's just fan service, him saying, well, I could appear again. I don't know, because obviously there's going to be different versions of Professor X in different realities. So it is easy and interesting. So I think that's the biggest criticism of the whole movie. And some people just didn't like it because it's a Sam Raimi movie. But if you don't like Sam Raimi TV shows or Sam Raimi movies, then you wouldn't really like it. I think some people just hated on it for the sake of hating it. Now, I don't think it's quite Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker level of how controversial it is, but there are some ridiculous comments like this. I liked it a lot, but I had problems with the writing. It seemed like Suicide Squad, where they had a finished product, then put it through the meat grinder of studio interference because, although they did fall victim as much as the Suicide Squad because there wasn't enough enjoyable aspects, and a lot of the other criticism that I can understand, but realistically, if you're a Marvel fan and if you've watched all stuff, people are like, you had to watch WandaVision, you had to watch What If. I realistically don't think you had to watch any of them. I mean, What If? No. WandaVision, yes, because of the whole, Billy and Tommy twin storyline, but they explain that. So I did watch a few reviews and a few other people's comments, and saying that you had to watch WandaVision to watch this is kind of ridiculous because they explained it. All you had to understand is she had 2 kids and just destroyed a town, and they explained that in the dialogue. I do feel like the movie probably would have been better had they given it, say, another 10-20 minutes. Some of the scenes needed more time to rest and, actually realize the grand scheme of things, and maybe they could have spent more times exploring other universes, but when they do that, there's more CGI, more VFX work, and then it gets even more and more expensive. They worked in this movie so many times. The fact that there was a cut that was 2 hours and 40 minutes and we only got a 2 hours cut, is that bad? No, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I personally don't think it's the greatest Marvel movie ever, but I do think it's a good entry to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And yes, I agree with the point that it's really a Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff movie, and it realistically, Doctor Strange did take a backseat in his own movie, but I feel like it explained everything it needed to explain. The horror side, they pushed the horror side very hard for a PG-12 here in UK, but when it comes to stuff like the Midnight Suns and Blade and Punisher, realistically, I want all that stuff to be a 15. I really do. But from a marketing making money point of view, now as the time of recording this video, it was reported last night this movie has made $450 million opening weekend, which is freaking insane when you think about it, because apparently cinemas are dead and $500 million opening weekend is actually pretty great. Now, I do feel and I do understand the criticism for the final battle, and people were moaning that we didn't get an epic fight between Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch on the level of the Thanos versus Wanda that we got in Infinity War. I do feel you, Endgame. I do feel you on that aspect. I do get it, but realistically, Wanda is so much more powerful than Strange. It is ridiculous them two fighting in the first place. And yes, controversial subject has been answered. Who would win? Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange. Scarlet Witch would easily decimate him, and the whole Doctor Strange has to do is drop Wanda in. A mirror dimensional argument is now over because she got out of it pretty easily. Now, would I like to see the extended 40 minutes? Maybe. It depends. If that is going to add context, if that's going to add anything different, sure. But realistically, from talking to a lot of people and reading the interviews and listening to the interviews that's been going on with Sam Raimi and Elizabeth Olsen and Benedict Cumberbatch, I really understand the following. The cameos are not going to be seen anywhere. I don't even believe these cameos that all the super duper Twitter scoopers bigged up massively. And yes, we cover this because if someone is a trusted inside source and they've got prior information right previously, you're gonna believe them. And sure, they can come out and say things like, well, I got the scoop on John Krasinski, I got the scoop on Clear. No, you didn't, mate. No, you didn't. That was on Reddit a year and a half ago. The whole story was on Reddit a year and a half ago, with the only inconsistency and the only difference from what I can see is Bold of the Brave was in this. And yes, there should have been one more member of the Illuminati. Cool, I get you, but but it doesn't necessarily mean the superior Iron Man, played by Tom Cruise, was going to be in this. Realistic, guys, let me know down below. Do you really think Tom Cruise filmed the scene and it got cut? The cameo levels are crazy. Now, one thing that is good about this movie coming out, and it kind of not living up to the cameo hype, is now you can question the frig into all these scoopers going, yep, this character's going to be here. Yep, this character's here. Yep, this character's here. And yes, I was wrong. I thought there'd be some multiversal storyline off the back of this that leads into Thor: Love and Thunder, Thor 4, and it's not looking very likely. But I still, so I'm going to take an L on that. I still do believe that Null, the God of the Symbiote storyline, could and should be attached to Thor: Love and Thunder, because as we know, the sword, the blade that Gore is wielding is a Venom symbiote. Well, at least it's a symbiote-based sword. And if they don't tie it to Null in some capacity, or at least give us a cheeky wink from behind the scenes, then that will be a massive missed opportunity. So that is the reason why I think people are realistically a little bit underwhelmed about it, but I think it was pretty cool. The third act was weak. There wasn't really any crazy battles. Yes, the fights with Illuminati was the weakest part, but that's just to show how freaking strong the Scarlet Witch is. She's a Nexus being. Even if it wasn't the Scarlet Witch version, she still would have decimated the whole of the Illuminati. I understand the Illuminati Thanos, but as it's been explained, now that Endgame's out, Wanda could have taken out Thanos single-handedly without the help of a mutant, without the help of a Fantastic Four member, without the help of Black Bolt screaming. So Wanda is just so OP that it makes sense they did that to show how freaking strong she is. Yes, I guess she kind of died at the end of the movie, but she's not dead. She is coming back. There's been multiple reports of the Scarlet Witch solo movie. It's just going to be, what wonder is it? Did this one survive? There's a reason they didn't show us the effects of the Darkhold Castle blowing up and Wanda in the rubble. She's definitely alive. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu if you want to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, and I will catch you in another video, guys, very soon. Catch you later.